How to cure acne. In this video series, I'll try to give you an idea on what you can do to cure yourself of acne. As you will see, uh, some time ago I wrote an article about how to cure acne, and this video is generally going to be based on it. The images I'm showing you are from different forums, acne forums and acne groups that I've been belonging to, where people are uploading those images. So, some time ago I wrote an article about curing acne, and this video is going to be about it. First, let's start with a quote by Ayn Rand that says, "We can ignore reality, but we cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality." So, most people who have severe acne are actually in a kind of denial. They are ignoring the reality. So, my job now in this video is actually to give you an idea how you can get more in touch with reality and better understand what acne is. The first thing that you should realize about acne is that acne are a reaction to something. Generally, it's an exaggerated reaction to something. Let's think about it a little bit. If we go back in time, just 100 years back in time, or even more than 100 years, what we come to realize is that acne was very rare. And when I say acne, I'm generally talking about those extreme acne, something like this, or those other images I shared with you. So, the people suffering from acne in the past were generally suffering significantly less, and the number of people suffering were significantly less. So obviously we have done something in the last few hundred years that have changed that. If you take photos of, for example, school children, photos of teenagers taken 100 years ago, these are those old Facebooks, when they were real photos, real books. And you go through the books, let's say, of students who attended university 100 years ago. What you will be surprised is how clean skin people had 100 years ago compared to the, skin of the students today. And they didn't have that much makeup that time, You can clearly see that it's black and white photos, but still there is no makeup. So that's the first thing that tells us that really something has significantly changed. So why is the skin of modern people reacting exaggerated to something that has been probably normal, or that most other people don't react? Let's first talk about something else, and that is different kind of people. There generally two kinds of people, or two groups of people. The biggest group are those people who absolutely don't want to know why do they have their problem. They just want to solve it as fast as possible. So those people are people who, for example, take painkillers anytime they have pain. They don't really care what this pain is caused. They don't want to know. They just want to fix it and forget it. So when they have ear pain, they have throat pain, they just go get antibiotics, they fix it. If they have acid reflux, they want to go to the doctor, take acid blockers. If they are constipated, they want to go to the doctor, they want to get something for constipation. They don't really want to know why, the answer. They don't want to find the answer why it happens. because that answer would actually mean that they would maybe have to change something in their life if they were to avoid next time some same thing happening. So these people generally may live most of their life in total ignorance and not knowing really what the cause of any problem they have been fixing with medication is, and then suddenly, they suddenly end up with some much more serious disease, like some chronic or some severe disease, and they just think it's a bad luck. They think, wow, it just happened to me, I'm diagnosed with this. And they never realize that it might have been actually a consequence of what they have been doing in the past. And then there is a smaller group of people, and these are people actually that believe that symptoms are sacred messengers that are telling them that something they have done is wrong and that they should change it. They actually see every health problem as a lesson, as a way to learn something. It's a message that your body sends to you, telling you, hey, maybe you should figure out why are you having this problem. And every disease, every symptom actually is maybe a way to teach you that you should maybe stress less, sleep more, eat a different kind of food, drink different kind of drinks, or maybe that the food you ate yesterday is not really good for you, or maybe that toothpaste you used yesterday is not good for you, or maybe that shampoo you just got first time yesterday is not good for you, or maybe that visit to a dentist has actually caused some more deeper problem. So my job with this video is to try to inspire those who belong to this second group to think even deeper, even better, and maybe to inspire some of those who are from the first group to change the group and move to the second group, to move to the group of knowledge. So, another quote by Randy that says, "The truth is not for all men, but only for those who seek it." And so far, I've been researching acne for at least last 30 years, and I've come to the conclusion that about 90% of people with cystic, hormonal, and serious case of acne are really not ready to make some major changes in their life that are needed to start healing process. I say start healing process because to cure serious case of acne, it's a process. It's a process of healing whole body. If you think that you're just gonna take a cream, put it on your face, and my acne serious case will magically disappear, well, you are watching the wrong video. I'm not gonna talk about products in this video. I'm gonna talk about fixing the underlying problems. I'm gonna talk about your body, I'm going to talk about your organs, and I'm going to talk about things that are the basis of how acne starts and things that has to be healed if you want to cure your acne. So, if you are one of those 90% of people who don't want to make any changes in your life, well, this video is not for you. Move on. But if you're between the 10% of people who are actually ready to do something, you're fed up with doing the surface treatments, you're fed up with antibiotics, you're fed up with the Accutane, you're fed up with anything else that didn't work for you, then you are on the right page. So, the main question is, what are the underlying causes of acne? What are the underlying causes of cystic and hormonal acne? How did you get acne? Why did you get acne? Why is it that most of your ancestors didn't have acne, but you actually do have them? What has happened? So, acne are actually just a natural response of our body to a specific set of circumstances, which involve inflammation, impaired liver function, impaired kidney function, impaired stomach digestion, intestinal dysbiosis, skin dysbiosis, increased intestinal permeability, proliferation of pathogenic organisms inside intestines, and proliferation of pathogenic organisms on your skin. So I have now bombarded you with large number of words and phrases that might be new to you. Don't worry, this video will actually try to explain all of them. So if you have never heard about words like dysbiosis, if you have never heard about words like impaired stomach function, digestion, impaired liver function, well, don't worry. I just gave you some words to think about, but as those words are a bit complex and what is behind them is complex, I will try to explain. So acne are also one way how, for example, allergies and food intolerances may affect our body, may cause problems inside our body, and those problems may actually appear with the symptoms of acne on your skin. So food intolerances and allergies are just some of the factors. Microorganisms that both live on your skin and our intestines can also play an important role in generating some of the much more severe cases of acne. People have some of the worst cases of acne. They have already passed long after the just food intolerances, and they actually have a colony of microorganisms living on their skin, and they are actually hypersensitive to byproducts of those bacteria or those, for example, mites. Uh, Once your skin has been weakened by foreign proteins that have entered your bloodstream and that are causing, for example, inflammatory response on your skin, and example of that is, let's say, a food you have eaten that large molecules of food enter your bloodstream because of increased intestinal permeability. In that case, and also it could be toxic. Not, sorry, I was talking about foods and matter, but there could also be toxins created inside your intestines that your intestines could absorb and then cause further allergic reaction to those toxins. And all that actually is just some of the many ways how people develop some of the symptoms of acne. After that comes bacteria on your skin that actually continue to cause more irritation, and that your skin actually may become sensitized and start reacting to even stronger. And then the last thing that comes maybe are demodex mites. Mites are microscopic organisms like little animals that can live on they live on the skin of all people in relatively low numbers, but people who have acne might have them in certain parts of their body in extreme numbers, and people who have extreme case of acne may be actually highly allergic to those mites, which further creates irritation and inflammation on the skin. So even that their acne actually at the time when it started, it wasn't induced by demodex mites or by natural bacteria living on the skin. As the time has passed, years have passed, their skin has become so much sensitized that it then starts reacting even to things that it hasn't been reacting to before. And that actually creates even larger problem for curing acne. So what is most important to understand is that the primary factors that actually caused first symptoms of acne in most people, and these are, for example, dysbiosis, increased intestinal permeability, allergies and food intolerance, bacteria and mites. If those primary problems haven't existed, the secondary problems, which are bacteria proliferation, mites proliferation, they would not have power to cause problems or even to cause inflammatory processes, because most likely your skin wouldn't become sensitive to those animals or to those bacteria. So, and there are of course many other things that after can cause more problems once you are sensitized. And for example, stress, depression, lifestyle, environment, sleep, emotion, etc. So now, how to naturally kill those bacteria that lives there and calm the inflamed skin? There are several natural remedies that can do it actually without that you really have to go and buy some expensive products. So while in this video I'll be talking about addressing the underlying causes, most people actually want to know, what can I do today? Can I put something on my skin today to make it better? And the answer is yes. Usually the answer is yes. So I'm going to give you a list of a certain number of natural anti-inflammatory treatments that have been quite efficient for quite many people. Number one is sea salt. If you have ever been to the seaside and you've been swimming in the sea, and after a few days suddenly your skin became cleaner, you are one of the people who are a candidate for trying this. You get the sea salt, you dissolve it in a water and you wash your face with it. It shouldn't be too strong, it can irritate your skin if it's too strong. It shouldn't be too weak either, because it won't have almost any effect. But if it's about as salty as the ocean and you can taste it once you make it, then it should be good enough for you. So dissolve 1 spoon of salt per, let's say, 1 liter of water. Taste it. If it's too salty, add a little bit more water. If it's almost non-salty enough, add a little bit more salt. Dissolve it. Wash your face with it before you sleep. After you have washed your face with it, you can dry your face and you can kind of leave a tiny, tiny, tiny amount. You don't wash your face with the fresh water after it. So the last water that you have washed your face should be salty one. After you have dried your face with a towel after washing with it, there will be a tiny, tiny amount of salt left on your face. That's it. Another thing that works for some people is apple cider vinegar with mother. It's apple cider vinegar which hasn't been filtered. When you make apple cider vinegar, you put the apples into water and you let them naturally ferment. During this process of fermentation, water may become slightly muddy. That water is then taken out, and that's actually apple cider vinegar. Apple cider is acidic, can be pretty strong, so you will have to dilute it maybe 1 to 5, sometimes 1 to 3. So you can just take several spoons of apple cider vinegar into a glass of water and try to drink and see if it should be pleasant taste in your mouth, not too acid, not too weak. If it's that pleasant taste, you can use it as a face wash. Another thing that works for some other people is yogurt. Just go buy yogurt at the store and wash your face with yogurt. That's as simple as it can get. You can dissolve yogurt in water, again maybe 1 to 2, twice as much water as yogurt. Wash your face, let it even stay yogurt for some time on your face, then wash it with water and go to sleep. Do it in the morning again. If it doesn't make your face worse, it will make it better. If it has no reaction, doesn't make it worse, doesn't make it better, no change, well, then this remedy is not for you. Keep searching, and then it comes the next remedy, and it calls borax. Now, what is borax? I'm going to show to you what borax is. Let's type here borax mule. If you go to a grocery store, you might find there's something like this. It's a mule borax. It's used as a detergent, and that's what you should be looking for. It's available in the United States, and it might be available in some other countries, like, for example, Australia, and even in some countries in Europe. Borax is actually is a sodium salt of boric acid. So, borax, 1 spoon of borax per let's say 1 liter of water. You can even taste it. Don't worry, you will not die. It's not that toxic. It's as toxic as sea salt. So if you take too much sea salt, it can kill you. If you take too little sea salt, you may also die. I mean, we use sea salt in food anyway. So borax is also like thing that can be eaten in about the same amount as sea salt and might actually have a positive effect on your health. But when you wash your face with it, it's anti-inflammatory, it's antibacterial, natural antibacterial, natural anti-inflammatory, and a natural antifungal. So it has a kind of an effect of both calming infections, calming inflammation on your skin. Epsom salt. Epsom salt or magnesium sulfate is actually another natural salt. It's magnesium salt of sulfuric acid. It's available easily in the United States in almost any grocery stores. Outside the United States, you can find it in places like, for example, um, places where they sell fertilizers. Yeah, you might find a bag of 25 kilo of Epsom salt or magnesium sulfate in places that sell fertilizers, and it's used as a fertilizer actually, but it can be 100% chemically clean magnesium sulfate, which means you can actually eat it. Magnesium is a bit stronger than salt, so if you're gonna put it in your mouth, you will not take as much as you would say take sea salt, as much as salt, or actually like about the same amount of salt that you can tolerate in your food. That much amount of Epsom you can safely consume without, having big problem with it. But the thing is that you will actually just dissolve it and wash your face with it. You can even take a bath with it. If you Google Epsom salt bath, you will see all the benefits, including that people get much more relaxed, the skin gets softer, nicer, a lot of benefits. If you take a cucumber and you put it into a juicer, you get juice from your cucumber. If you wash your face with that juice, it might also work for you. And then there's something called colloidal silver and colloidal gold. These are actually particles of silver or particles of gold uh, suspended in water. These products cost money, a bit more money generally than the previous products, and can be easily ordered online. And these are also natural anti-inflammatories, antibacterial, antifungals. So I gave you here 7 different things. You're not supposed to try them all. You're supposed to try to find which one of those works for you. Once you find it, you stop there. Uh, so if you apply any one of those products, they may actually help you significantly reduce skin inflammation and significantly reduce many of your acne. But what you should know is that I did not make this video to tell you about what you can put from outside on your face. The main thing about this video is what you can do so that your acne never come from inside. But still, it's good to know what you can do also from outside, because most people actually want to do something from outside today, because all the rest I'm going to talk about takes more days, more than 1 day. Okay, now I'm moving with this article and moving to the things like how did we get all those problems, where it all come from. So, for example, food intolerance. Food intolerance simply means that you're unable to tolerate, you're hypersensitive to some foods. You have an exaggerated reaction to food. So food intolerances and allergies have a lot to do with your digestion and increased intestinal permeability. So what is intestinal permeability? Our intestines are supposed, or aligning the cell that are aligning our intestine, they are supposed to allow passage of nutrients from the inside of our intestines into the intestines, and then with intestines they are supposed to be carried by blood to our liver. Increased intestinal permeability simply means that too much is coming in, more than it should come. It's like our intestines are like a kind of filter that when they are healthy, they allow only certain size particles to pass through. Yeah, like we can talk like that in terms of size, though it's not that. It's been a bit more complicated. So if you have a filter that is supposed to allow passage of certain particles, let's say filter for water, that filter will allow water molecules to pass through, but will not allow any other molecules to pass through. So if you suddenly change the size of that filter and the filter allows larger particles, suddenly, and you continue filtering water with it, suddenly your water might get dirty, the drinking water, because let's say the source of your drinking water is pond, which is, or a river, which is pretty dirty. So if filter doesn't do the good filtration, it will result in drinking water being dirty. That's the intestinal permeability explained. Intestines work as a filter. They filter what comes into your blood. If they work well, your blood stays clean. If they don't work well, your blood may become dirty. So, yeah, that's the thing to know. So, let's now go back to intestinal permeability and how it actually, how do we come to that point? So, allergies and intolerances are a direct consequence of increased intestinal permeability. Let me explain an allergy term. Allergy is an exaggerated reaction to a protein inside our blood or inside our body. For example, if your intestines are allowing proteins of gluten to pass into your bloodstream, there is high probability that after some time you actually become sensitive to gluten. Now, gluten is a protein inside wheat, inside some other grains, and huge number of people is consuming wheat and is consuming food containing gluten. If their intestines are allowing passage of gluten into their body, and if they at the same time take into their blood some agents that cause increased immune reaction, they might actually become allergic. So, what are those agents that can cause increased immune reaction? An example of those agents are actually vaccines. When you take a vaccine, there is a protein of a foreign protein that is injected into your bloodstream together with agents that are supposed to increase your immune reaction. The thing is, like, when you give vaccine to people, you really want them to create strong immunity to bacteria or virus they're vaccinated for, and unless they get a very strong immune reaction, they might not develop strong immunity. So then some other chemicals are put in vaccines that increase that immune reaction. If during the time when you get vaccine, during the same day you get vaccine, you are consuming, for example, gluten, and gluten particles end up in your bloodstream due to your increased intestinal permeability. You might actually become sensitive to gluten, or, for example, to milk or to peanuts, and so on. So, increased intestinal permeability is direct consequence of dysbiosis, and dysbiosis is direct consequence of use of antibiotics, direct consequence of poor diet, and also consequence of using some other medication or other products of chemical industry. Another important factor in dysbiosis, or the cause of dysbiosis and the cause of increased intestinal permeability, is liver function. Liver function can get impaired as the result of use of certain medications like antibiotics, as well as exposure to too much different chemicals. And liver, which doesn't function well, can seriously affect intestines and the processes that happen in the intestines, and that leads to dysbiosis and so on. So what I'm actually trying to say here is that there are so many different problems and so many different ways how actually people develop sensitivity to different foods or allergies to different foods. So the complete or quite large list of major factors that are leading to acne other than genetics are vaccinations and exposure to vaccines, antibiotics and exposure to antibiotics. When I say antibiotics, I'm talking here about pills or injections that you have received during your lifetime, but I'm also talking about antibiotics that are found in food, because what most people don't know, antibiotics are used in huge quantities in fish farming, chicken farming processes, farming of other animals. Okay, then let's talk about other things. Impaired liver function is on the list. Intestinal dysbiosis. What is intestinal dysbiosis? It's a loss of intestinal microbiome. It's like changes to the intestinal microbiome. I'm going to give you later detailed explanation what it is. And then we have increased intestinal permeability, we have food intolerance, we have allergies, and we have impaired stomach digestion. So these are the major underlying causes of acne, and that's how it all started. So how do I cure acne? So you cannot cure acne without curing things leading to it. Impaired liver function is probably one of the most important factors because it's kind of at the center of everything. Impaired liver function leads to problems with digestion. Problems with digestion leads to increased intestinal permeability. Increased intestinal permeability leads to food entering the bloodstream and going into the liver and weakening liver even more. So this is kind of a vicious cycle. Your liver is a chemical factor inside your body that regulates the metabolism of fats and all hormones. All hormones are actually made from chemicals very similar to fats. That's what most people don't understand. So, one of the functions of your liver is to regulate the level of hormones inside your body by breaking down the hormones inside your bloodstream and converting hormones into cholesterol, acid, and biles. Some of the hormones are also excreted by the liver in form of biles, while other hormones are excreted with your kidneys into urine. There are generally four major ways how we get rid of hormones from our body, and liver plays major role, kidneys play a major role, sweating is actually one of the way also, and then we have also hair growth and nails growth. Actually, some of the byproducts of hormones, some of the hormones in our body will be excreted through the hair. That's why it's possible to actually find out hormonal levels by, by analyzing the hair samples. So, another very important factor in acne is chronic intestinal dysbiosis. Let me explain dysbiosis. There are about 1,000 different species of microorganisms living inside the digestive tract of healthy human being. Those microorganisms are called intestinal microbiome. Those 1,000 different species have to be in a relatively perfect balance in order for you to have a good digestion and good health. So when somebody is very healthy, that's generally a sign that his intestinal microbiome is in perfect balance. When some part of our microbiota, for example, uh, microorganisms that lives on our skin, or microorganisms that live inside our intestines, or microorganisms that lives inside the vagina, when they became deranged, when there is a change in a balance between different microorganisms living there. For example, denominating species